to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Yeah, or like rewrite it or something. Just write a new thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. But fashionably late, as we usually are. And we're talking about the beasts in the East. And thankfully, I'm not alone for this one. Jay's back. Glad to see you're doing much better, buddy.
Thank you. I have risen from COVID hell.
And we got our boy Jimmy Fanizzi, finally!
It's about damn time, guys. No, seriously, thank you guys for having me on. This was long overdue.
Hell
Jake,
yeah,
it's good to talk to you again as always. Jay, it's nice to actually finally meet you for a change, and I'm glad that you are feeling better, but it is nice to see you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. It's wonderful to keep the J alliteration going too. So
there you go, Jake.
There you go. That's it.
Jay, Jake, and Jimmy.
There you go.
Love it.
I actually, you mentioned that. I smell Ed and Eddie 2.0. Just saying.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah.
Yes. That's perfect. I feel that's how this is gonna go.
Considering that's one of my favorite cartoons growing up, it was
fitting. Classic. And my mom hated it.
Absolutely.
Wait, what's that?
My mom hated it for some reason.
So did mine. So did mine.
She thought it was the dumbest thing. And SpongeBob. She weirdly just was vitriolic.
If you hate SpongeBob, then what are you doing? Come on, stop.
Mom, yes, I'm calling you out, Mom.
We love you, Mrs. Gehringer.
Oh boy, well boys, let's do this because we're recording this on day 1 of the NHL season.
Yes, sir. Woo!
So again, fashionably late as usual.
Yep.
We're gonna do this kind of like what I did with good old Kyle. Thank you, Kyle, for the Western show. That was fun. It was funny because I do think this is gonna be way more lax because I've done plenty, obviously, with Jimmy already. And then Jay, we've been doing this for 4 years.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just don't do a lot with Kyle. Does that make sense?
That's fair.
So that one, I don't know. We'll keep this one way more chill and probably way more fast paced.
I think so.
Yeah. I wouldn't say chill when we get to the Rangers because if we talk about what I think we're going to talk about today, I'm going to have some thoughts. Just saying.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Fair enough. But I want to do the 1 to 8 ratings first, and then we'll get into like more storylines within the division and things like that. So we're gonna start because we got to do both divisions. We're gonna start with the best one, and that's the Metro, baby.
Yes.
All right, Jimmy, 1 to 8.
So I gave this on my show, my official season prediction with Jeffrey from Mind Your Pucking Business, and please go subscribe to From the Blue Seats. It would mean a lot. Self-plug, I'm sorry. But anyway.
No, please, everything. I know MYPB isn't necessarily affiliated with us, but go check those fellas out too, and obviously check out Jimmy.
Yeah, no, Jeffrey and the boys do a great job at that show. I had the pleasure of having Jeffrey on to give season predictions, so go subscribe to them. But basically, this might surprise you a little bit with the Metro here. So, until proven otherwise for me, I still have Carolina winning the division, only because I trust Rod Brind'Amour. Brind'Amour has a proven track record. He's a great head coach. He gets his teams prepared. I know Carolina lost a lot of bodies this offseason, and I know their goaltending is a huge question mark, which to me, that's the big storyline with Carolina, is their goaltending. Can Freddie Anderson be consistent, and can the young guy Peter Kochetkov actually have a good season? A good, consistent season. But with that being said, I still trust Rod Brind'Amour. I still have Carolina winning the Metro.
Not to cut you off, but
go ahead.
I probably should have done this before I let you speak. So last year, to review last year.
Yes.
New York 1, 55 wins, 114 points, and a President's Trophy.
Yes.
Carolina 2, 52 wins and 111 points. Islanders 3, 39 wins and 94 points. What a gap that is, boys. Oof. Washington 4, 40 wins, 91 points. They were right in there. And it's like they didn't.
No, they were. It was a race to the end, but so close.
Pittsburgh was 5th with 38 wins, 88 points. Philly 6th, 38 wins, 87 points. Devils 38 wins, 81 points. And our poor Blue Jackets, 27 wins and 66 points.
Is it bad that I actually feel bad for the Blue Jackets? I mean,
Well,
no, seriously. They're probably considered the least, what's the proper word? Like, they're not really considered a rival because what have they done to us? Like, they really haven't done anything. There's no like bitterness. What have they done?
I can tell you like that I had with the Rangers if you'd like.
Oh no! I gotta hear this. Go ahead, Jay.
It was 2016 or 2017. I got tickets. The only time I gotten tickets to a suite for a Blue Jackets game, it was Blue Jackets Rangers, and the Blue Jackets were on a 16-game win streak.
Oh,
I remember that
4-1 lead to the Rangers and lost that.
So I remember that.
The streak for 17 wins. So thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, still not sorry for that one. But no, anyway. Back to the topic at hand here, because you mentioned 1 through 8 here. So, like I said,
so Carolina won, right?
Yes, I still have Carolina winning until proven otherwise for me.
Rapid fire the rest of this, because we gotta get through us too.
Absolutely. Number 2, I have the Rangers. I still think the Rangers are going to be a playoff team. No President's Trophy this year, I'm sorry, but I still expect them to win 50 games close to the season. Number 3, I actually have New Jersey. I have the Devils. I think the Devils are a much improved team. They upgraded a goalie. They added guys like Brendan Dillon and Brett Pesce to the fold. Sorry to Carolina, but Devils definitely upgraded. I know there's a few question marks still, but it's a lot less than last year.
Biggest addition, Sheldon Keefe.
What's that?
Biggest addition, Sheldon Keefe.
Yeah, Sheldon Keefe. We'll see what he does. I know his playoff track record isn't the greatest with Toronto, but
Toronto.
We'll get
to them later.
This is New Jersey. This is different.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, I got the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Really?
I just have that feeling that Crosby took a pay cut to stay for 2 more years in Pittsburgh.
Right.
You don't think he's going to go out there and be even more motivated to try and win 1 more cup before he retires? So, Look, I know the Penguins really are nothing to write home about, but they're still a talented team. I trust their goaltending, so I have the Penguins at 4. Number 5, I have the Capitals. Okay. Now, do I trust them a little more than I did last season? A little bit, only because, the Capitals last year really were not expected to get in the playoffs. They made it by the skin of their teeth. Ovi, we know how he did. Surprisingly, the Rangers took care of him. But I expect Ovi to be much better. Everybody's going to be talking about, he's going to get the scoring record. Maybe not this year, but he might next year. I think we're all expecting him to get it. It's just a matter of when. I don't think it's going to happen this year. Yes, the Capitals are a much older team. They can't stay healthy. I trust Charlie Lindgren. He's a good goalie, but, the Capitals really don't do much for me. I have them at 5. Number 6, I have Philadelphia. Okay. Philadelphia, look, the moment that I saw John Tortorella squeeze every single ounce of life out of that team last year to a point where they fell out of 3rd place in the Metro, which is where they were virtually the entire season. Mm-hmm. There's a problem there. Now, the game hasn't totally passed towards bye, but even still, I don't trust that Flyers team one bit, especially when it comes to their defense and their goaltending. I have the Flyers at 6. Number 7, Big surprise here, Columbus. I don't have them finishing dead last this year. I don't.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
look,
we appreciate that.
in all seriousness, though, condolences still go out to the Gaudreau family. Obviously, very tragic what happened. Obviously, this season is going to be way more revolved around them. Now, they're going to be memorials all over the place. They're going to be wearing patches for the year. We get all of that. But something just tells me that the Blue Jackets this year are going to be much more competitive than they were last year. The addition of Sean Monahan does help, but I still have question marks about Elvis. I still have question marks about their coach. I still have question marks about their defense. I still have question marks about their players on the back blue line. I have a lot of questions about Columbus, but I still expect them.
We will address those.
Yeah, exactly. We'll address those in a bit. I still have a lot of questions, but nowhere near as bad as last year. So I have the Blue Jackets finishing 7th, and then obviously you can guess who I have finishing in 8th. I don't think we need to talk about that. Next.
Is that just due to a rivalry thing? Like, is that just a spite pick?
Maybe.
Okay. Fair enough. So Islanders 8. Jay,
yes. And by the way, the only reason why I have the Islanders 8, I know that might come as a shock to people, but I still have questions about them offensively.
They're slow. They're old.
They can't score. They can't score.
Yeah, they don't score.
Now, granted, when they do score, they play great defense. But if that continues this season, this Islander team's going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, would it surprise me if they're competitive and are fighting for a wild card spot? No. But I don't trust that to be the case this year. I trust Sorokin. Sorokin's a hell of a goalie, but the Islanders are slow. They can't score, and I just don't trust them to get enough support for Sorokin. So I'm sorry, Islander fans, but y'all are finishing last this year.
Sorry.
If I'm wrong, I will come back on the show and apologize. I'll even do it on my own show. I will do it on my own show. I will publicly apologize to you. But until I see that, Islanders are dead last. I'm sorry.
All right, okay. Jay, you're up.
All right, I'm actually going to do reverse. I'm going to start with 8.
Okay.
I'm picking us last.
Taking us last?
Yes, I think there's going to be improvements. I'm still excited about the season. Obviously, you and I have talked about how we believe in Dean Evison. I do think there's improvements. You mentioned Sean Monahan. We'll see what happens with the goaltending. But I think that it'll be more structured. It'll be more fun to watch. I don't think it's going to be miserable, but this division is it's very packed.
It's always been a bloodbath for the past half decade.
Yes, it has.
There's no breathing room in this division. So I'm picking them last, but it's not a negative pick as the previous years have been. 7, I'm actually picking Washington. Washington, I actually think it's a weird phenomenon where I don't think they got worse on paper this season. Mm-hmm. I feel like they just punched so far above their weight last season. It's so difficult to replicate that in back-to-back seasons. I like Charlie Lindgren. Do I think he's going to play at that level again this season? Probably not.
Well, that's why you get Logan Thompson.
Exactly.
I like that pick. Because I've been a Logan Thompson guy for a while. But I don't see them having the level of goaltending that's going to keep them above other teams, who have fantastic goaltending, like the Rangers, like I think the Devils will with Markstrom, like the Islanders will with Sorokin and even Varlamov. So that's where I have them. There's a lot of question marks around that. And I think it's one of those situations where it's so difficult because the expectations have been raised, especially after their off season. I could see that potentially coming down. I don't think they'll be a bad team though. 6, I have the Penguins. They're old. They're slow. I do think that Crosby's going to have a fantastic season. As always, it's Sidney Crosby. I know you said that he took a pay cut. I'm not entirely sure in his mind he took a pay cut because I can't think that he fathoms the concept of not having his cap hit at $8.7 million.
He's the definition of superstition.
That's fair.
He's too, like, I guess OCD to not have his 2.7. But it really, there's still good pieces here. You still got Malkin. I do like Tristan Jarry, but there's just so many gaps. And they've almost resembled, sometimes teams become their other teams in their city. And they remind me a little bit too much of the Steelers, where, yeah, there's talent. You could point out individual players. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a coach there who's won titles, but he doesn't have his fastball the way that he used to.
Yeah.
Just, like the Steelers these days are going 9-8 seemingly every season. That's kind of how the Penguins feel to me.
I mean, that's all the Steelers need out of Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, literally. The Flyers I have at 5. Goaltending is a massive concern. You mentioned that they were third in the division for most of the season, then they fell off. Their last 10 to 12 games, I can't remember exactly what the number was. Their save percentage as a team was around 860.
Ugh. Ugh.
Hmm.
Like,
Ugh.
to me, it wasn't a case of like Torts randomly losing the locker room.
No, it was not a Torts
Very
thing
much a
last
case
year.
of this team quite literally could not buy a save. Now, I do think a full season of Ivan Fedotov should help. I think that a little bit more experience, he'll probably look a little bit better. I do have some faith in Samuel Urson as well.
Mhm.
Still, massive, massive question mark. Defense, question marks, yes, but I think the coaching often uh, elevates that. So I don't have as many questions as I would with, say, a Washington or Pittsburgh. And then offensively, I mean, you bring in Matvey Michkov. I think he's going to bring.
He's gonna be
Yeah, he's gonna be a massive problem. I agree.
good.
Yeah. Fourth, I do have the Islanders, because the Islanders become the Keith Richards of the NHL. It doesn't matter what they do that roster. They are the same thing every year. They will not die no matter what they do. Is scoring an issue? Yes, it's been an issue for years. They still keep fighting a way to win like 35 games but have enough overtime losses to get to the playoffs. I don't know how they do it, but it just continues. But me and Jake have been on record. We believe in Patrick Waugh as a coach. I like.
Yes.
Okay.
He did a pretty solid job stepping in last season. I expect that to continue a bit. And they are an older team that's a bit slower. I did like the addition of Anthony Duclair. He will bring an element of speed that they desperately need, but he's going to be an X factor because he's going to have to step up and produce, because there's not a lot of goal scorers in that lineup.
No.
Absolutely.
Third, I have Carolina. Rod Brindamore is a hell of a coach, and I think he's going to prevent any bottom from falling out here. But they lost a lot. I mean, it's a massive, massive heavy hit. I think losing Brady.
A lot of guys going to rivals too. Like that's
Yeah.
ooh.
You mentioned Brett Pesci. That's a massive loss. I think Brady Shea's a massive
Brady
loss.
Shea's a big one.
Wouldn't have offered him the contract that Nashville offered him, but that's still a loss.
Losing Jake Gensel's huge too.
Yeah.
You lose him to Tampa, and he signs an extension there.
Yeah.
So like that's gonna be difficult. I mean, the X factor here, as for the last couple of years, and he hasn't really stepped up, is gonna be Jesperi Kotkaniemi. We'll see if he can do it. Because if not, I think that's just kind of he's gonna be what he is. I don't really think you can expect much more out of him in the future if it doesn't happen this season. But I still expect them to be good. I don't necessarily have questions in net in terms of production. Freddie Anderson's proven. I think Pyotr Kochetkov projects really well. My question, as always, is health. Good Lord, they never seem to be healthy between the pipes. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Massive issue. So that's going to be a big factor, and that's part of my lack of faith. Definitely puts them down to 3. 2, I have the New Jersey Devils. They had a phenomenal offseason. The biggest addition of all was definitely getting Sheldon Keefe. His playoff track record is what it is, but his regular season track record also is what it is, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Coaching Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, John Tavares, and now taking that to a team with Jack Hughes, Timo Meyer, Jesper Bratt,
Nico Heischer.
Nico Hischier, yeah. I think Dawson Mercer, after a step back last season, I think will probably take a step forward this
He's
season.
going to be
Now,
hungry.
granted, with them, I forgot to mention this earlier. You are losing Luke Hughes for a while, so
Yeah,
that
that's going to be hard.
that's not a good look right away.
Not a good look, but I do like Seamus Casey. So
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm not saying that fills that hole, but maybe 80% of the way there. I do think that he's valuable. But you know, in terms of replacing Luke Hughes, I mean, you're not replacing him, but you mentioned the guys they brought in: Brett Pesce, Brendan Dillon. I think Jonas Siegenthaler is going to have a much better year. And not to be too rough for lack of not even trying to make a pun here. I think Lindy Ruff really just lost his fastball these last few years as a coach. And not only do I think Sheldon Keefe is a really good coach, I almost feel like Lindy Ruff out has been, in a way, addition by subtraction.
You got the patented head drop, dude. Because that one was bad.
I promise you, I wasn't even
my
trying.
God.
It just happened, and you're doing it without even trying. So yes,
I saw Jake's face and I said, "Yep, now Jay's in trouble."
is constant with me. But yeah, so I think as a result, you're going to see better seasons.
Yes.
From defensemen as a result. Dougie Hamilton as well, and then first New York Rangers. And
really,
yeah. So part of it, and we'll get into it, and I know you're going to be frustrated when we
chomping at the bit.
This is a big year for him, and I think that this is going to be a year where, you know, he's shown it in the past. I think he's going to have a monster year because he wants that monster money.
Igor,
and, you know.
So, do we want to? We'll save it for a minute.
And I don't know, like, if there's too much to add about it other than that. I think they're the best team in this division. I think they're incredibly complete. I think they're well coached. There's not a lot to like. Not a lot to not like about this team.
Except for maybe 5-on-5 play, which I would like to see fixed.
Yeah.
Fair. But, and a big step from Capo Caco, maybe too.
Yeah.
Make or break for Capo.
It's funny you mentioned Caco. I feel it's a make or break year for him this year. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. If he can stay healthy, and let's say for argument's sake, he goes out there and has, like, I don't know, a 20, 25 goal season or something along those lines, he's going to get extended. But if he doesn't, or if he gets hurt again, then it might be best to move on from him. That will be your break moment. So this is a make or break year for Capo Caco, especially. And also Trouba as well. Trouba, I think, is going to go on a revenge tour this year. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star, but I think he'll have a much better season than last year, and you will see him get extended as well.
It's definite cause for having pep in your step when you know that, in a way, this organization would be fine without me. So I definitely agree in that sense that there's going to be a fire in him that I think that this team, you know, needs, because that's one of the things that they rely on.
He is their captain.
Yes.
But I think that the Riley Smith pickup is a sneaky addition.
Nice. I like that pick. I like that.
Nice.
He won a Stanley Cup with Vegas. He knows what it takes to win. You know, the Sam Carrick signing, that basically was a replacement for Barclay Goodrow, who went off back to San Jose. So, I mean, Sam Carrick's good, but the Riley Smith trade, I kind of like a lot better than the Sam Carrick signing.
He's going to look nice with Vinny, I think.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
Yeah. So going, Jay, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Okay. So mine, I'm going to have, that's a tough decision. The top two are really weird decision for me. Sorry, Jimmy. I gotta go Devils 1.
You're really?
That's my hot take. I gotta go Devils 1.
Interesting. I'd love to hear your reasoning behind this.
I think, because we've already mentioned a lot of their different pieces, they've made extremely solid additions. I love the way Sheldon Keefe coaches because I do follow Toronto pretty closely as well. I love Keefe's systems. I think it's going to work really well for the younger guys like Jack, like Seamus, and, certain bits and pieces around that lineup. My biggest question, like, I know Jake Markstrom's going to be great, and who is it? It's Jake Allen is their backup, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you've got a very good veteran backup in Jake as well. My biggest question really is Dougie's health, because we talked about
Yeah.
Dougie earlier, and he needs to stay healthy.
I agree with that.
If that decor is going to mesh like the six that they can, even with the new guys, Dougie's got to carry a lot of that.
I agree.
Number 2, I do have the Rangers at 2 because they're still like, addition by subtraction and what have you, and losing Barclay under his own free will. How about that? You have a really, really great forward core. Like I said, Riley's going to work really, really well with Vinny. So is Laugh, I think, if you're going to keep Laugh there. Heedle's got to stay healthy. I'm excited to see I'm excited to see what he and Cooley can do. I'm excited for an encore from our buddy Matt Rempe.
Oh, God.
That kid's gonna be so much fun.
No, look. In all seriousness, with Matt Rempe, I really am excited to see what he can do. I know he was all the rage last season with the Rempire State Building and Rempe Rides at Dawn. Shout out to Little Ed from Rangers Ed podcast, by the way, for coming up with that shirt design. I actually have one from last year's playoffs, but I really am curious to see how Rempe's going to do, because I know he's been working out with Chris Kreider during the offseason a lot. So who knows? He might have a little bit more of a scoring touch than we think this season, but that remains to be seen.
Big boy, just go to the net. Just go to the net.
He's big enough.
Fair,
he could just
fair.
he could just screen.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I love their defense still, especially the top 4, because it's vastly unchanged.
Yeah, but you're gonna be without Lindgren for quite a while
gonna be a
now.
hard one.
He is on long-term injury reserve, so that's not good. So it makes you wonder who's gonna be at that top line with Fox. Are you gonna move Trouba up? Are you gonna move Miller up? It's gonna be a little bit of a difficult situation there.
put
But
Keandre
losing
there.
Lindgren's gonna be a lot.
If I'm Peter Laviolette, I'm putting Keandre there.
Okay.
You got a fast young pair.
I really like Andre Miller, so
Love Keandre Miller. And then the chip on his shoulder from Jacob Trouba is going to be a huge thing with how much fans wanted him gone, and they were already saying, "Oh, he's going to get traded to Detroit already," before anything even happened. Like, they were already just making it a done deal when there was nothing there.
No.
I will say one thing I want to bring up, since Lindgren said, I think this is a great opportunity for Zach Jones.
Yes. I want to see that kid get more ice time. Put him on like the second pair with if you're gonna keep Miller at the second pair, put Jones there.
Yeah.
So I have the Rangers at 2. I would put Carolina 3 because I still think those 3 are like the locked core of the playoff teams in the Metro.
We all have like the same 3 teams in the top 3, but just different orders.
Except Jake's coming in hot and has the Devils winning.
I think I'm really bullish on the Devils. I'm really bullish on the Devils.
Fair enough. Go ahead.
Oh, I think Philly can go as high as 4th.
What?
I think Philly, with they haven't done too much. I want to see a lot from Fedotov. I want to see a lot from Michkov. I think that kid is going to pop off.
No, again, I agree with that. He's going to have a monster year.
It's just the biggest flaw I have there is kind of is their top 4 defenders. I think defense is really the only thing.
Hmm.
Because they have enough to score by committee in their forwards. So I think they can go as high as 4th because Jay and I both know, and I don't know if you were a fan when Torts was coaching the Rangers, but we know
Oh, I
how
was. I loved him when he coached the Rangers.
we know how he is, guys.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Blood from a stone. He is going to get everything and more out of these guys.
I can't wait for him to coach the Isles next.
Oh God.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Jay, hang on. Imagine this, right? Remember my hot take was the Islanders finished last this season, right? Can you imagine if that does happen? Patrick Waugh gets fired, and then John Tortorella comes in there, and there's just makes everything even more of a catastrophe than it already was.
I don't know. Yeah, I think just because they've been through with that system already, they know how this is going to work, and I don't know if this is just me putting rose-colored glasses on with Gaudreau because he did get to go to some of the Flyers practices after an invite, and that was such a great gesture from John and the Flyers. I think I'm gonna expect a little bit more from Philly.
Yeah.
Okay.
5th, jeez. 5th, I'll go Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I think Pittsburgh can still be 5th because as long as Sid and Gino can have another year like they did last year, they're gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna be again just kind of fine. 6th, I think. I don't know if I want to do that.
Do it.
You know what?
Do
You
it.
know what? Columbus at 6.
Yeah, I knew it.
I hate being the homer like that, but this is what I said last year. You know, I thought they were going to finish 6th last year just because they had so much weird turmoil going on that they could band together for it. Now, and this isn't anything to, to make light of what happened to all of us.
Yeah.
There's so much fire through the tragedy right now. This is fueled by Johnny.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Monty's going to be a monster. I think Adam's in for a fantastic sophomore year as long as he can stay healthy. Because he missed the last 8 weeks of the season last year.
Yes.
Defense has to improve, which I think they will
They will. I think my biggest thing with the defense, although yes, it's carried by the young guys. Everybody in the forwards is carried by the young guys, especially now that we're without Boone for a while and without Dima for a while. Dmitry Voronkov getting hurt in that preseason game was a huge blow.
It was.
Not ideal.
They'll figure it out, especially now that we have Kevin LeBanc and JVR as the filler guys.
I love the JVR signing. I love it.
Yeah,
it gives another veteran presence to the younger guys. And I know he hasn't really won anything, but he's a proven player. I know he's older, but he's another veteran presence to have. He's a good locker room guy too. So that's a sneaky good signing. But Jake, like I said before, I do expect Columbus to be a lot more competitive than last year.
I feel like my expectations from what happened last year are going to carry over to this year because there's so many layers to it.
Yeah.
Z's gonna need to be healthy. Sivo's gonna need to be healthy. We had so many injuries that were long term.
He has to be better. Phenomenal offensively. He was not good defensively last year. But like I said, I think Dean Evison fixes that.
Yes, Dean's a huge upgrade.
Absolutely.
That's a massive upgrade.
It's, and I think Juracek needs to make it fit this
Yes.
year.
Yes, absolutely.
And what did we see last year, Jay? We saw Provorov and Juracek click like that.
One of the few defensive pairings that actually looked competent at times for the Blue Jays.
Yes.
Make it happen again.
I'm a little surprised, not to go like off track. I can't believe that we're not starting the season with Den Matichuk up.
Yeah, that was a big.
That
yeah.
was nice.
Then again, I did see. Did you see the Portsy tweet?
Which one?
That said, Twitter. Columbus doesn't develop their young guys properly.
I saw that.
Also,
I saw
Twitter,
that.
you're sending down a 20-year-old forward and a 21-year-old defenseman. What are you doing?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, look, I'm not criticizing as much as it's just surprise of like I thought he played well enough that he would be.
Yeah, but I think along those lines, going to the defense really fast, that bottom pairing, Goody is gonna be the staple there because Goody was fine. He had a better year last year.
He was actually, funny enough, good last season. Like
Goodbranson was pretty
very
good.
funny. Like in the midst of an awful season.
Yep.
One of the few surprises was Eric Goodbranson was actually very good for.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna say that whether it's JJ or Harris, you can swap those guys out.
I hope it's Harris instead of Jack Johnson, personally, but
but I think, yeah.
Respect to Jack Johnson.
It's funny because Puckpedia originally had Jake Christensen with Provorov on the second pair.
Oh.
Like originally, and I was just like, that feels weird.
I mean, I like him.
I like Jake, but I feel like
second pair immediately, especially if he's playing on his offside. But
yeah, I think Jake and Jack are going to be the press box guys.
Like I said, all due respect to Jack Johnson, but I hope we see the least amount of him as possible this season.
Well, it's funny because we haven't seen
inevitably played him for a conditional 7th to Colorado again at the deadline.
We haven't seen JJ and Goody since Pittsburgh, and we all know how that turned out.
Mm-hmm.
But I still have Columbus at 6.
In that case, I would like to see Jack Johnson and Eric Branson at least once this season.
Right. But I still have them 6th because of the firepower that this entire summer is going to bring to this team.
We've talked about this before, and I'll say just for Jimmy's sake, like, we've seen this on different scales. The number one example I bring up is Vegas in 2017 after the tragic shooting in Vegas and how that team banded together in the midst of their first season to make a run.
Yeah.
Is Columbus going to the final this year? No. But we see that these tragic events can bring communities together, and if it brings communities together, it can bring teams together, and everybody gets tighter, and that can lead to success.
So that leaves, I would say, Washington at 7.
Yeah.
The biggest thing there is just Ovi chasing the goal record. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do with PLD and Matt Waugh. They got a couple of additions there and I can only say additions because I like Matt Roy. Is it Roy? Because it's Nicola Waugh and Matt Roy. Okay.
Yes.
Matt Roy's gonna be fine.
Yeah, I like him.
I like Matt Roy, and just PLD's still a mystery box to me.
Yes.
He's always been a mystery box ever since he went to LA.
I feel like I'm maybe like one of the few like PLD. I don't know if I want to say defenders left, but I don't jump on the hate train on PLD as much as other people. I liked him when he was here. I hated that he left. I was sad that he left, but I think some of it is this guy takes some time to settle. His first season in Columbus was pretty good. His second season was really good. And his third season was really good. And then he goes to Winnipeg, and his first season was a damn disaster. Then he followed up with 2 pretty damn good seasons. His first season in LA was a disaster. I honestly think if he stayed, he would have gotten it figured out. I think his first season in Washington could be a disaster, but I don't. I think he might just be a guy that takes time to settle.
They don't have a lot of youth either, which worries me.
And
There's
that
guys,
always, you gotta have youth.
and their youth is still kind of just stagnant towards the bottom of the lineup. Like Ferravari's a good player. I like him.
I like
Um,
Alexis Protas.
I like
It's
Protas. I like Connor McMichael. I need to see a lot more from Connor McMichael.
yeah.
It's just I don't know. There's Washington's just kind of a nothing burger other than Ovi and then maybe a little bit of Tom Wilson, stirring the pot.
And
I think
losing TJ Oshie doesn't help either.
Yeah,
yes.
that was a huge loss. And then
I think it's consensus between the three of us, though, that the biggest mystery box team out of any team in this division has to be Washington.
yeah,
100%, yes. 100%.
Because I could absolutely see a scenario where they finish as high as third, and I also could see a scenario where they finish as low as second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
exactly.
You never know with them. Absolutely.
And then, not to discredit the Islanders, but yeah, still like there's just nowhere else to put them but eighth.
So you agree with me then? Then what are we talking about here?
Well, like that's the thing.
I can't believe you picked the Islanders at 8 minutes later. I'm thinking the Islanders at 8.
I could just picture.
Well, it was weird because I was going through everybody, and then I was just like, "There's just nowhere else after meh," because I wanted to try to put the Islanders somewhere higher because I like Patrick Waugh,
Yes.
I like Ilya Sorokin, I like Pelican Pollock is one of the most fun defensive pairs to say.
Yes.
Legitimately good, yeah.
And they're legitimately good. Siplikov was really the only addition besides Duke that they made, and I don't know what to make of Siplikov because, this is his first time on North American ice. He could be as good as to play on a second line, or he could be stuck on the fourth. We don't know. Duke's a great addition up front. Him and Barzy are going to score a lot. We know what Bo Horvat can do. Brock I have in fantasy. I like Brock Nelson, and I like what he can do. Other than that, I just don't really see very many names that stick out to me. Like
a big year, in my opinion, for JG Pageau.
JG Pageau.
That's like he's got to step up and have a solid year for them, or else he's probably gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say the same for. You know who I would say the same for? Oliver Wahlstrom. Where is he?
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about him. Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, is this going to happen?
But, and the reason I totally forgot about him is because, like you said, Jake, where the hell is he? Like, literally, we have not seen him be productive at all.
Yes. Because it was like 2-3 years ago that Islanders fans were like the two guys that they were clinging to. As everybody was like, you don't have a prospect pool. It's like, well, we have Wahlstrom and we have Dobson. Well, Dobson panned out.
Dobson's good.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least he panned out. He's fine.
Fantastic. Oliver Wahlstrom, like, bro.
What happened?
32 games last year, he had 2 goals.
Oh.
Yep.
Like,
it's actually funny. I can picture our good friend Kim Moisa, aka IslesGirl3 on Twitter. By the way, if you're not following her on Twitter, what are you doing? You should go follow her. Probably the biggest Islander fan I know personally. She's probably watching or listening to this right now, just screaming at the computer or phone or whatever she's listening on, and being like, "You bunch of imbeciles."
I mean, we are just a bunch of idiots. Like,
yes, I'm not gonna deny that, but even still.
2 goals in 32 games, man.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, that's not good.
And then they also have, just anchor after anchor on contracts. Because you have I was gonna get to him because you have Scott Mayfield first, and he's actually gonna be the one playing. Weirdly enough. But then Pierre Engvall cleared waivers?
Yep.
Yes. Well, what? I mean, Well, he cleared waivers because nobody wants to take on a 6-year contract.
Yeah, the contract.
Exactly.
The reality of having an 82-year-old dude as your GM is that he doesn't care about contract term. He only cares about the price. So he has no issues giving out the term in order to drive the price down. So, in terms of if you're just looking at yearly value for players, well, the value actually isn't bad for these guys. But what is bad is the term. These contracts are untouchable because who the hell wants a dude like Pierre Engvall knowing that he's got 6 years left on his contract? Casey Zizekas, when he got his extension, I think was a 6. I mean, he's just giving these deals out left and right. So nobody's going to want to touch anything to do with those. But I just did the math. Oliver Wahlstrom, for an 82 game pace last year, would have scored 5 goals. I mean, that's just not even a worthwhile fourth liner. Like if he's not notable with checking or defense,
he's not.
So it's like I would absolutely put him in the category of it's a big season just in terms of figuring out are you going to stick around with the Islanders, or is some other team going to take some low compensatory flyer on you to try and see if they can fix you. And depending on how well he does, if he does actually show some success, I mean, what is he? Is he a middle 6 piece? Do you think of him higher than that? Like, where does he fit in the mold?
Can I just offer some advice to Lou Lamoriello, who I did like him when he was in Jersey, even though I wasn't a Devil fan growing up. I did admire him for what he did with New Jersey.
He did a good job.
Yeah, exactly. Here's some advice. Just retire. Just straight up retire. Go home. Enjoy your family.
You're 82, bro.
What?
Isn't he like, is 80? Is he 81 or is he 82?
82. Retire. Go home, because you clearly don't care about player development anymore. All you care about is a price tag. What are you still doing? I don't know. Just retire. Go home.
Oh, I think he should. You're a Rangers fan. You should be advocating.
You should want him to ride this out.
Lifetime.
No, I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. And by the way, speaking of price tags, really quick, can I just say a quick word about the whole Igor thing, if you guys don't mind, before we get to the
we'll do that, and then we'll swap.
Atlantic Division?
Yes.
So, just really quick, I don't want to take too much of your time because I know it's your show.
No, it's fine. We're just hanging out. That's what we do.
It's even still, I still know it's your show. But as far as Igor is concerned, look,
$88 million, dude.
I was stunned. Look, I'm the guy that said on my show, I would not give him a long-term deal. However, how do you turn down a chance to be the highest paid goalie in NHL history? How do you turn that down? Listen, again, I've said I wouldn't do it. I said I would give him a short-term deal because I don't want to see a Hank situation all over again. In other words, you have a situation with Henrik Lundqvist where he basically carries the team on his back his entire career, and the players don't help him. Same thing's going on with Igor. Carries the team on his back every year. Players don't do anything to help him. So, I know they won't do this, but what I would do is give him a 2 or 3 year extension. This way you still have enough cap space to find players that, can actually give him some offensive support and actually block shots for him. Is that too much to ask? No, look, I love Igor.
Do you think you would go for a 2 or 3 year deal?
No,
I'm not saying he's going to, but that's what I'm saying they should do. I know it's not going to happen, but if they're smart, that's what they would do, and that's what Igor should do. He should be taking a pay cut because winning should be more important than money.
Well,
isn't winning a cup more important right now? You're trying to win right now. And I'll say this for the record.
Yeah.
If for some reason the Rangers don't at least make the Stanley Cup final, there's a possibility that Igor could walk. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to. But if they don't at least make the final, he's going to want to get out of there and get his money somewhere else. Now, is that what you want?
To compare this, everybody just went through Jeremy Swayman.
Exactly.
But here's the difference, right? Sway, being an RFA, had, no real leverage other than just kind
Other
of
than that he can
begging,
sit.
just
Yeah.
begging for his money and trying to set that younger market.
Yeah.
I was actually under the impression that Swayman was waiting to see if Igor would sign his extension
Right.
at the goalie market.
Can we talk about the $64 million thing? It's just
Oh,
like Cam Neely, what dude?
That was so stupid, but what I thought was even dumber was like he said it and we all overreacted, and then
yeah,
like,
thank you,
signed
thank
for
you.
66 million, and it's like really like 2 fucking million is what we're making a big takeover.
It's so dumb. I'm sorry. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So, but this is the difference with like, because you have an RFA who didn't want to go to ARB. The team took him to ARB the last time, and that was ugly. So then we thought he was going to hold out this time, and then Sweeney caves, right? After Cam kind of put everything out there on blast, Igor could just walk.
Yep, he could.
Igor could just say, "Fuck you, I'm done."
Yep.
He's got a lot of leverage, and I think that so. I want to address a couple of things with Igor just to try and get in terms of.
Oh, go ahead.
First of all, he's one of the best goalies in the league. He's top 3.
Yeah.
Oh, no question.
So he has the opportunity to reset the goalie market. He turned down a lot of money. But the reason that he's able to do it, as you guys had mentioned, is because he can walk. He can simply leave. Now, granted, he may not get the 8-year deal that he wants elsewhere. Only would be 7 in free agency. The other leverage that he has, in my opinion, is that there seems to be no immediate help in the New York Rangers organization in terms of goalies. Jonathan Quick, we love. And
Oh yeah.
Blue Jackets legend Johnny Quick.
And, and he earned himself another contract with the Rangers with how well he played. But Jonathan
100%.
old, and this very well could be his last season in the National Hockey League.
Yeah.
I keep hearing it's going to be. I don't know how true that is, but it could be his last season. You're right.
So
he's definitely being way more coy with it than Flower is.
Yeah.
Right. So immediate help for the Rangers in terms of goaltending help. There's a lot of question marks there. So the Rangers don't have any leverage in terms of that. It's not like they can look at this and be like, okay, we don't really want to pay you because we have this guy coming up. So we might even be able to trade you and recoup assets. And now this guy is the new Igor. They don't have that leverage. In terms of trying to win a Stanley Cup, I think what you're saying is true. You have the opportunity to maybe take a pay cut in order to help your organization build a proper team around you to compete and win a Stanley Cup. At the same time, if you are a goalie like Igor Shesterkin and you are one of, if not the best in the world, you are under the belief that if you sign an 8-year contract with the Rangers, no matter how much you're making, would it be 11 million or 12 million or even somehow, some way 13 million, let's say, for example.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You would have the opinion if you were one of those guys, surely in 8 years, I can win a cup.
There's got to be a cup in there.
So I that's for me trying to analyze this from Igor Shesterkin's perspective. We've talked about guys, you mentioned Crosby earlier. Some take pay cuts because they want to win and they understand I can't do this on my own. But I think that's more prevalent with positional players, whether that be center, wing, defenseman, than goaltenders, because goalies have more impact than any other player.
No,
Because
they do. They do.
Oh yeah.
he is not on the ice for 60 to 65% of the game, whereas goalie is on the ice the entire time.
Mhm.
Yep.
So from that perspective, I can understand why Igor probably has it in his mind. No matter how much I'm making, I believe I give this team an opportunity, if I'm here for 8 years, to win a Stanley Cup, no matter what flaws we may have, whether it be on defense, whether it be special teams, 5-on-5 play, whatever.
Yeah, but see now, Jay, that's where I'm going to counter argue, because again, my point is, if you do give him that long-term money,
Yes.
what is the point when you're going to go through the same damn pattern of the team A not scoring 5-on-5, B, not being able to block any shots whatsoever, and C, not getting any crisp, clear shots when you're passing the puck too much. What is the point of giving a goalie that much money when your team can't support him? That's my point.
I think it's a great point. I do. And I think that that's where the impasse is, because I think Igor has so much confidence in himself that he can ask for this amount of money. He wants to get that contract from the Rangers, but the Rangers rightfully are sitting back like, can we really afford to give him, let's say, 12 million a year? And like, you have to find the most creative ways to make up for the gaps. That makes your job, even though he's great, it makes your job so much harder.
Yes, it does.
And like, last season, in my opinion, is very much the outlier. The Panthers win the Stanley Cup. Bobrovsky was great in the playoffs, but that team, the way that they're built, is a little different. How many times have we seen in the last decade where you see teams that are winning the Stanley Cup and it's Matt Murray on his ELC, or it's Hill not making that much money against the cap? You know, like, there's example of Jordan Binnington on not necessarily his ELC, but he wasn't making that much money. We
Right.
very frequently where there's teams with goalies who aren't making much money, and because their goaltenders aren't making that much money, one of them steps up in the playoffs. Well, guess what? They have more money and resources to their D-core, to their bottom six, their middle six, and they have top-end talent. That is where I think the Rangers are in a very difficult spot, because you can't just let Igor walk. I don't know if you could justify trading him.
No. They'd be idiots to trade Igor. For what? A bag of chips and a remote control?
Yes. Like,
I was waiting for this. I was so waiting for like you guys to get into an argument like this.
This is Drew's job. Very, very difficult, and it's not an envious position to be in.
I mean,
I'm sorry. I was so waiting on you two to meet just to have an argument like this, because I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun.
No, but it's just frustrating because I love Igor. I love what he's done for the team so far. But it's frustrating because you're demanding so much money. Now, granted, he probably does deserve it given his track record so far. But again, you need a solid team around you. And if you give him that money, you're not going to be able to get that chance to build that team. I'm sorry. Look, you can come at me all you want, any Ranger fans that are listening out there. I don't care. It's my opinion. You have yours. That's the beauty of talking about hockey and any other sport. But if I were the GM, if I were Chris Drury, I'm giving him a 2-3-year extension, and I'm building a team around him to try and win now.
I think.
I think. What's were you gonna say?
To cut it short, so we can go to the Atlantic.
Yes. I apologize. Go ahead.
Igor, I feel like Igor, he turned. This is the problem, because Jimmy, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth here.
How?
Because you, when you said he did what and he turned down the 11, do you want him to make as much money as possible, or like what are we doing here? Where are you at? He wants to make as much money as he can, but I do think he also wants to win. There's got to be some sort of.
I don't know. Jake, listen. By turning that down, that just shows me that he's greedy. I'm so I hate to say that about a guy, but I think at this point, with him turning that down, he cares more about money than he just wanted a cup. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would disagree, just in the sense that I think most of these players are under the impression that it's about trying to find that point. How can I make the most amount of money possible while still having a chance at winning a cup? I think that Igor Shesterkin loves the Rangers, and he probably thinks that they're in a really good position, as I said, over the course of the next 8 years. Surely there's a cup in there somewhere. You brought up Henrik Lundqvist earlier. Obviously, that's the trauma with Rangers fans, where it's like, we had this great goalie for so long, and we didn't win with him. I actually think, funny enough, the better comparison is probably Carey Price.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good point. That I can't argue that.
And he did get to a final, and he dragged their asses there. And what happened? They lost in 5.
Yep.
So that's I understand the both sides of it. I understand Igor's side where he wants to make the money and he believes in the team, just like Carey Price did. But I also see your point too, where you're just like, okay, this is a good team. They won the President's Trophy last year. And by the way, in doing so, Igor Shesterkin had a 912 save percentage last year. That's good, but that's
916
standard that Igor Shesterkin has set these last few years. That was below his standard for once. So it wasn't as if they won the President's Trophy, but this guy had a Vezina Trophy winning season, so he was the big piece in the middle of it. They're clearly a good team, but is there enough as currently constructed to bring home the cup, which is the only thing the fans care about?
That's fair. And by the way, Jay, just to correct you on something and to correct myself as well, he had a 913 save percentage last year.
You were almost there, boys.
Jay.
Almost. I was a few more digits off than Jay,
Apologize.
but it is what it is.
Have
But
we said
anyway,
our,
let's
have
move
we
on to
said-
the Atlantic because
was gonna
we're
say,
now.
have
I
we
think
said-
said our piece. I do
have
think
we said our piece?
I think
Have
so.
we,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Jay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's move on to the Atlantic.
The girls are fighting. Come on, boys.
I thought we were agreeing on a lot.
All right.
Eye to eye. Hockey's back, baby.
We're here. It's about
Thank-
time.
Thank God. I am so happy to be back. You going to any games this year?
I actually just recently got tickets for November 15th against Pittsburgh. Yeah, a little Metro
Oh.
rivalry.
Love it. Well, I hope you got those tickets through Game Time.
I don't know. I would hope so.
With hockey being back, the excitement of watching Puck live is at an all-time high, especially after what a great season last season was with Florida winning the Cup. I mean, God, the finals were amazing. It's never been a better time to be a hockey fan. Am I right?
No, I think we're in for an even better story this year.
Me too.
You ever notice you ever just think about when you're living life, the atmosphere in the arena,
Yeah.
and just feel it while you're just living your life?
Mm-hmm.
Just the chill of going into your seat, and you can feel the chill of the ice while you're sitting down, cracking your beer
Literally,
open, and
the chill of the ice more than anything. Yeah.
just the hearing everybody chatter before everybody comes out. The experience of when everybody it's so quiet. It's a lot quieter to watch a game live when they're just kind of skating around.
It is.
And then all of a sudden you get a big boom
Yes.
off the boards.
Hit off the boards, the goal, and the cannon shooting off, or you get the sounds of everything though. Doesn't matter if it's hockey, basketball, or Sabrina Carpenter concerts. Game Time is an excellent app to grab tickets to just about any event that you might be looking forward to this year. You're looking forward to that Penguins game in November. I'm looking forward to that Penguins game in November.
Hopefully we can make that happen.
Yes. Game Time picks filters so it can, filter out all the fluff so you can get incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. Makes things a lot easier so you can get the deal that is right for you.
I always liked what you're able to do is they give you selections of this is worth this much, and then you can click on that section in that seat, and they have a little panorama view, so you can get a little bit more view of just what's in front of you.
Yeah.
You can actually look around a little bit. That's a really nice feature that I like.
Yeah, I love it. The great thing about the app is that it makes things so convenient to look through it. I mean, you get seat views, so you can get a panoramic view from your seat on the app before you buy. Lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference.
They kind of have an insurance policy too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the industry. Curation makes it easier to save more on whether it be sports or concerts, comedy. Comedy is a great thing.
I haven't been to a comedy show in a long time.
I saw Jim Gaffigan last year, and he was brilliant.
It's already been like 3 years since I saw Jeff Dunham.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Download the Game Time app, create an account, and if you use the code THPN, you get $20 off your first purchase.
$20.
$20. It's $20 for free. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What is it? It's Game Time. That's gametime.co. Gametime.co.
What time is it?
It's game time.
The quest for the cup is back. We're here.
We're here, baby.
The puck is dropping on 2024-2025. Get in on the action with our buddies at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. And it's really easy if you're a first timer.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is bet on something like a team to win on the money line, or you can bet on an anytime goal scorer, which,
Or a first-time goal scorer.
or first-time goal scorer.
I made like $70 off of Brandon Saad getting the first goal against the Blue Jackets not that long ago.
Did you? So you just go to the DraftKings app, select your team, and place your first bet. So let's take a look now that we are actually in full swing with day one of the NHL season. Taking a look a couple of days later.
Oh, dude, tomorrow we got Maple Leafs Canadiens.
Classic matchup, right?
Classic, absolutely. Who doesn't want to watch that game?
Oh, considering how their preseason went, I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on that.
Yeah, preseason's preseason.
But still, we'll get to it eventually. But it's always a great matchup whenever it's Toronto-Montreal, whether it's Toronto-Boston. There's so much history between those original 6 teams.
It doesn't matter the venue because the fan bases are so passionate. Like, you're going to get a sold-out arena. It's going to be filled with crazy fans. It's going to be loud. There's going to be some big hits. There might even be a fight. And one thing that I think you can predict between these two teams is that there's always going to be goals.
Oh, yeah. When you have Goal Caulfield, yes, I said Goal Caulfield. Yeah. When you have Austin Matthews, when you have William Nylander, John Tavares, Nick Suzuki, Mike Matheson, Morgan Riley, you have plenty. I mean, Matheson can score.
Madison. This was not the name I expected when talking about goal scoring.
The money line for that favors Toronto at a -185 and a +154 for the Canadiens.
Yes. Let's look at some goal scorers. Let's see some bets here. Anytime goal scorer -160 for Austin Matthews. He is ridiculous. I do like Slavkovsky at +245.
Oh, yes, Slav, yeah. Looking forward to
Max Domi +3 against his old team.
Domi can do it. Yeah, I think Domi can do it.
Or Pacioretty against his old team.
Against his old team, yeah. That's going to be really weird, seeing Patches against Montreal in Leafs colors. Like,
yes.
That's going to take some getting used to, isn't it?
Yep.
Looking forward to our season opener in Union Blue in Minnesota.
Yes.
The over-under on goals is a 6.5. And that one. Probably bet the under on that one. Because both teams have at least pretty okay defenses, and
I think that's going to be a very structured game, especially with Dean Evison heading back up.
Dean Evison coming back to town.
Yeah.
Money line favors Mini at a minus 238.
Oh my God.
I think
Oh.
DraftKings thinks we're gonna get killed.
Jesus. Okay.
We're a plus 195. This is not close.
Dude, I might bet on the Blue Jackets. Can you? Me?
You betting on the Jackets to
On
win?
the Blue Jackets? Yeah. I might. I like those odds.
Wow. First time for everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly, right away. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. For new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies, or age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/ice. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved. All right. Atlantic Division. Make it quick. No justifications. 1-8. Jimmy, go.
I have Boston winning. Boston's winning the division. I think Pasternak's going to have another monster year. Swayman just got re-signed. I know they don't have that many bodies anymore, but I trust
Rapid fire. Dude, I'm
Number
sorry, but
two-
rapid fire. Go.
2 is Florida. I think they get back in the mix. 3, I have Detroit. I think Detroit's going to make a lot of noise this year. Bit of a hot take right there.
Oh,
Number 4,
I like it.
I have Montreal. Montreal's going to finish the same place they were last season. Montreal's an average team, in my opinion. They're going to be competitive, but they're average.
Okay,
Number 5,
correction, because I should have
Go
done
ahead.
this. Correction, because I should have done this. First last year, Florida, 52 wins, 110 points. Boston second, 47 wins, 109 points. Toronto third, 46 wins, 102 points. Tampa 4, 45 wins, 98 points. Detroit 5, 41 wins, 91 points. Buffalo 6, 39 wins, 84 points. Ottawa 7, 37 wins, 78 points. And Montreal at 8, 30 wins, 76 points.
Okay, so I was looking at the wrong thing. I apologize. So Montreal finished last year. That's my bad. But I think Montreal's going to be better than last year. They're going to be a lot more competitive.
Because I was going to say Montreal at 4 after finishing last. That's a whoa.
Yeah, another hot take. I know. I'm coming in hot this season. Number 5, I have Tampa. I know they added Jake Gensel, but they don't have Stamkos anymore. That's going to be a massive loss for them. I know Hedman's the new captain, but I expect Tampa to look a lot different. They're not going to be as good as they once were.
They don't have Sergachev anymore.
Exactly. I have them at 5. Number 6. Sorry, Toronto. I got you at 6.
Wow, that's a big drop. That's a huge drop.
I'm sorry.
You got him going. Wow.
I don't trust Toronto. What have they shown you? What have they shown you to prove that they can be a competitive team? Yes, they have great regular seasons, but they always freaking flop in the playoffs. I have lost faith in this team ever since 2 seasons ago. Austin Matthews, he can score as many goals as he wants. That Toronto team ain't doing a damn thing this year. I have them at 6. 7, I have Ottawa, and 8, I have Buffalo. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna start from the back.
Are you okay, Jimmy? Jesus, like, whoa.
I'm good. I told you. I'm coming in hot this season.
Because that was the way you ended that. 7, 8, done.
Go
ahead, Jay. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, buddy.
Let's go back to front again as I did last time. I have Buffalo last. I have Montreal finishing 7th, Ottawa finishing 6th, Detroit finishing 5th, Tampa in 4th, Florida in 3rd, Boston 2nd, and Toronto's 1st.
You have Toronto winning.
You have Toronto winning the Atlantic?
I do, yes.
Oh boy. All right.
Wow.
We can get
Okay. I can't wait for another little spat here.
Right.
All right. I think Florida repeats.
Okay.
I have Florida winning at 1. I have the optimist in me being, following Toronto. I will have them 2.
Okay.
I'll have Toronto at 2. You know what? Detroit gets 3rd.
Oh, you don't even have Boston in the top 3?
No.
Wow.
No.
You didn't have Toronto in the top 5.
So what?
Uh, we'll justify it. Where was I? Detroit.
Detroit 3rd.
Detroit 3rd. Okay. Detroit 3rd. Tampa. No.
You're contradicting yourself there a little bit.
I have my list in front of me. Wow, I can't believe I was more prepared for a podcast than you.
I was gonna say, yeah, because I'm trying to think. That never happens. I know.
Is just spit off the cuff.
Detroit 3. I'm gonna say
Flip a coin.
Boston 4, Tampa 5.
Yeah.
Wow. So you have Boston in the playoffs as a wild card team.
No.
Oh my! You don't even have. Wait a sec. Wait. Hold on, Jay. And you think I'm nuts? This man doesn't even have Boston in the playoffs. Have you lost your mind?
I almost think that's more egregious than
Thank you.
Here's my reasoning.
Jeez, man.
I think that weirdly enough, actually, okay.
He's
No. Don't go back in it now.
Because what I'm trying to think of here is I think between both of these divisions, one of them, I don't know which division it's going to be. I think somebody's going to have 5.
Yeah, I actually think that.
I don't know if it's going to be the Metro or the Atlantic. Somebody's going to have 5.
Yeah.
So that being said, I would say this is hard to pick the bottom too, because out of Montreal, Ottawa, and Buffalo, somebody has to give.
Do they though?
Somebody has to at least improve and fight for something.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point.
Detroit was right there until they weren't last year.
Yeah.
Who's it going to be this year?
We've been asking that question for 3 years now.
Yeah, we've been asking
True.
that. We've been asking that for Buffalo for at least 5, 7.
Mm-hmm.
And Ottawa for at least the same amount of time, 7 years maybe.
Yep.
So I think out of those 3, I think they're going to improve points wise. I think they're all going to improve points wise for the most part. But I got to go with, I think Montreal's the closest, so I'm going to put them at 6.
Okay.
I'm going to go Ottawa 7 and Buffalo 8.
All right. Okay.
So
you don't even have Boston in the playoffs. Like, what are we doing?
This is what I'm saying. So, there's so much that goes on off ice that can affect what goes on the ice.
Yeah.
Jim Montgomery's a great coach.
Yes.
Pasta is electric. We know this.
Yeah.
We know that they have very good defense.
Brian Lindholm.
Charlie McAvoy is going to do that. Carlo Lindholm is going to do that. They brought in Elias Lindholm. They brought in Nikita Zadorov. They made
nothing but a case for them to make the playoffs.
They made good enough additions to stay in this race. I just don't know with the way the season is going to go. I think in the Metro we could have a case for 5 teams.
Wow.
I was actually thinking for a second. I was like, it's going to be 5, like how it's been these last few years. I actually disagree. Looking through my list, I'm actually going to say it's going to go 4-4 this year.
Interesting. Okay.
And then in that case, the playoff teams that I had would be the Rangers, Devils, Hurricanes, Islanders, and then it would be Toronto, Boston, Florida, and Tampa.
Okay.
So that's been my whole trying to think this up on the fly
Yeah.
reasoning is I think just because we've all said this, the Metro is a dogfight to the end.
Mm,
I think a lot of these teams have made enough improvements where we're going to get 5 Metro teams.
It's an interesting difference between the two divisions, in my opinion, because as we said, the Metro's a dogfight just about every year. The Atlantic isn't because it's so top heavy. So it's
yes.
always a dogfight between Toronto, Boston, Florida, and Tampa. The question is, will one of those other 4 teams, Detroit, Ottawa, Montreal?
I think Detroit can do it.
Yeah, so do I. I think Detroit can make a lot of noise.
I would agree Detroit is the most likely, but I still have a lot of question marks about them.
I think
it's
I'd
fair.
like to see them
It's
do it.
fair.
Love to see
Yeah.
them do it. But
re-signing Patrick Kane is a pretty big deal. He did very good for them so far.
getting Vlad Tarasenko was a decent pickup.
Yeah. I miss Vladdy though.
I bet you do.
That's such a good signing for them.
and these are good players. I feel their roster in some aspects are too one-dimensional.
I think they have too many holes in net.
That's fair.
They don't have a bona fide guy, or at the very least, like somewhat of a solid tandem.
Mhm.
So because they have like 5 guys listed, I don't know if it's going to be, is Jack Campbell going to end up doing what happened with Edmonton? Like, is that going to happen again? I don't know.
So, but they signed a lot of goalies this season. I think that was one of the things they did this offseason was they signed a bunch of guys on like 1-year deals that were like very cost. It was like, Jesus, they're just
Can
like,
Billy Husso come back in any shape or form?
I'm starting to worry that Ville Husso's really good season with the Blues was a little bit of a mirage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big question mark too.
But also, I think they're a tough team to play behind. I don't think their decor is very good.
No. It hasn't been good for 3 years, dude. We've said it.
I cannot understand getting rid of Jake Wallman.
Yeah,
That's a huge
I don't know
loss.
what you were thinking there.
That's a huge loss. I just don't know because, like, they can make noise.
Yeah,
They can make noise, and I think they're gonna make noise.
there's good pieces here. I like some of these pieces. I mean, you go through the list. You mentioned Kane and Tank, but also Lucas Raymond, Alex DeBrincat, Dylan Larkin,
Mo Seider.
Mo Seider, Simon Edvinsson, even Olimata. I like him. But then you look at some of the other defensemen, and it's like Ben Sherratt, Jeff Petrie.
Sherratt and Petrie hasn't worked since Montreal.
Yeah.
Eric Gustafson, can he have another good year back to back? That's a question mark because this is going to be.
That's another one I'm gonna miss. Gusty was great for the Rangers.
Yeah. So they did get Cam Talbot.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Cam Talbot, who knows? He's almost been kind of like an ageless wonder. Every time I think he's cooked, he comes back with a.
He is a bit of a wild card though, Cam Talbot at this point in his career. You don't know which version you're gonna get. Same with Markstrom. Are we gonna get good Markstrom? Or are we gonna get bad Markstrom? Are we gonna get good Talbot? We're gonna get bad Talbot. Who the hell knows? He's such a big wild card.
Yeah.
How good do you think Linus is going to be in front of or behind Ottawa? Do you think Linus is going to have a good year and then the team around him is going to be bad? Like
not as good as he was with the Bruins. He'll be fine in my opinion. He'll be fine.
Interesting. One of the things that I would have thought would have been with how strong Boston's decor is that I was always under the impression that splitting time, these are good goalies. but are they great goalies behind that great decor? What I actually learned about Linus Ullmark is these last 2 seasons, he's been close to the top of the league both years in goals
Mm,
above expected. The Bruins defensive core is talented. They're not as proficient defensively as one might expect. That will probably be similar to what he will see in Ottawa. So he's definitely capable of having a fantastic season. I think he's just legitimately a good goalie.
Yeah.
There are some very serious health concerns with his lower body and his ability to hold up, especially as number one without a Jeremy Swayman behind him to take off some of the load.
Well, now it's Anton Forsberg, and we know how
yes.
Forsey's been the last little while.
So there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. It's going to be a big year for him, especially since this is the last year of his deal. We'll see what happens with the contract situation.
I think Florida has enough of everybody to run it back.
Yeah,
I
I think
think
both of us will have a good season with them.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for both Jesper and Adam. Hopefully Adam can stay healthy.
Yeah, I
And
hope so too.
that makes me fear for Zach Aston Reese's life because he now wears the cursed number.
He does.
Poor
Uh,
Czar. But I did like the Czar pickup. That was cool. It's weird because maybe this is just because we're all Metro guys. I don't feel like there's too many storylines in the Atlantic that are worth talking about.
I mean, other than what's Detroit gonna do, given they were so close last year, I
Is
don't
this
know.
the year that Boston does fall off? Like,
no,
Well, you think they will.
I think it is.
I
I
don't.
don't know. I think it is.
not much. I actually think they got stronger this offseason. I
Thank you. Thank you.
Boston to be very, very good again. Do we want to talk a little bit about the Leafs just to get some perspectives on them? Because
Ugh.
they're always the talk of town and they're always the most interesting team.
Always have been.
Look, man.
This will at least get us a few more clicks, maybe.
Look, I already said what I said about Toronto. I mean, I just don't trust them, man. I mean, look, they have a talented team. I will concede that. Look, Austin Matthews, he's gonna be what he's gonna be.
They
He's
have
gonna
a dollar in cap space.
What's that?
They have a dollar in cap space.
Pretty much.
No, they literally do.
No, I know that, but no, seriously. Look, Austin Matthews is going to be fine. He's going to have his typical good season. I don't think anybody's going to deny that. But my faith was lost with this Leafs team 2 years ago. Now, granted, they did finally get out of the first round a few years ago for the first time in 19 years, but if they can't get over that hump of not winning a Stanley Cup since 1967, when are they ever going to do it?
Well, maybe they can do it now that they have a number 67.
Oh, baloney. Stop yourself. They ain't doing squat. No way. I don't trust
I don't see them.
roster.
No.
I'm sorry. I don't trust them.
I don't see them. I don't see them winning a cup. I see them at least getting through. They'll have a tight second round series probably. And if they win, they win. If they win, they win. If they lose, they lose.
So, like, my thing is, like, I totally agree with you in terms of not trusting the Leafs. I've never trusted the Leafs, especially because of their inability to make changes. It is inconceivable to me that Mitch Marner is still a Toronto Maple Leaf. I can't believe
How is he still there?
It's crazy, but still, I mean, the question isn't can this team win a Stanley Cup? You and I would agree. I think the answer to that question is no.
Yeah, hell
Question
no.
is
We're all
how
going
they
to
do
agree
the
on
regular
that.
season. And the answer to that question is the same thing that they do every regular season, which is they're very good. They'll have a streak where they look bad, but they'll make it to the playoffs with a really good record and high expectations, and then they'll lose in the first round to a Boston or whatever. I don't know who they'll face depending on how this season goes. They don't have my trust, but I do think with Berube coming in, it's a new voice. Maybe he can toughen them up a little bit. Does that impact them in the playoffs? No, but regular season, I've never doubted their ability to win games in the regular season.
They're gonna.
What they do.
I think my biggest weird things with this Toronto team were the fact that they tried Willie at center during the preseason and now they're just gonna scrap that.
Just
Mm,
scrap it. It's like
What?
when we tried Line at center.
Because well, and that makes me feel bad for Montreal fans. Oh my God, poor Patrick.
oh
That was a
God.
rough,
Oh
rough one.
Oh my God, poor Patrick already. Like that just made me sad.
yeah. Well,
Hasn't
in
lost.
his defense, thankfully it wasn't a tear. It's just sprain.
Yeah.
If it was a tear and it was done for the year, I would have said that looks a lot worse than it does now.
Thankfully, he's gonna
Thankfully,
be
it's nothing
yeah.
too serious this time.
I think they find like it's weird how Timmy Liljegren is the odd one out now because they had such high expectations for Timothy Liljegren. I think Mo finally has a bit of a stable, like a guy that can be the low to his Paul Coffey in Chris Tanev.
Yes, there's almost kind of a Lou deal, just in the sense that they were just like, at this point, we don't care about the contract length. We just need the money to be
The
done.
money to work, but I
Yep.
still think Tanev is going to work well with Morgan.
Well, Tanner works with everybody. He works with literally just anybody he plays with. So
Right.
True.
that's a plus signing.
I've been a big Mitch fan for a while now. Like he was
Yeah,
the
we
first.
know.
Yeah, I mean he was the first jersey I bought with my own money and whatever. I don't know if he can get to 100 points for the first time this year. We'll see with how much him and Austin are going to play together.
Mm.
You know,
So
my bigger concern is with Willie because this is the first year of the $11.5 million deal.
Oh yeah, Nylander. Yeah, that's gonna be a big question mark.
And then what are we doing? What are they doing in the depth with a guy like Bobby McMahon?
Yep.
Is he gonna step it up? Is Matty Nyes gonna be just as good as advertised?
yeah, there's definite question marks there. I think what I like about them is in getting Berube, I actually, so you asked the question, will Mitch get to 100 points? I actually think the better question is, does that matter? In the sense that he might not touch 90 this year, and that might be okay because I think this team
That's fair.
sacrifice a little bit of that offense that they've been so prolific in previous years, in order to be a little bit more structured, to win those tighter games.
Mhm.
I think that there's going to be an emphasis, like we saw with Sheldon Keefe at times, although it didn't work, to try and be able to win playoff style hockey games. So I think that resonates. I think that will transpire into regular season success, even if the points do take a dip. But as I said, all this is moot because when you talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs, no one gives a shit about how they do in the regular season. It's all about how they do in the playoffs.
And that's where my concern lies with keeping a guy like David Camp.
Yeah.
Because I know what David Camp can do, but at the same time, they don't really need him to do that anymore.
They really don't.
I feel like with the emergence of Pontus Holmberg, they
Yes.
don't.
So I feel like Camphor being there is a little bit of a weird thing still. And I don't know. My questions around Joseph Woll and his health. Can he carry like a starter's load? I know that's why you bring in Anthony Stolars. Like he's got the cup ring. Sure.
I do like Stolars, as I think he's actually one of the better backups in the league. But it's a great point that you bring up. That is, I think, a very valid concern. Is I think we know Joseph Woll is a good goalie, but the workload, he's never in his career had a massive workload. This goes to his days with the Marlies too.
Oh yeah.
I believe he's had a season in his career where he has started over 40 games in a season. That's a massive, massive ask out of nowhere now on him.
I mean, I guess that's partially why you get a guy like Stolars. You can split things.
That's the whole reason you get a guy like Stolars, I think.
Yeah.
I think somebody will win the net eventually, but I think that it's going to be a lot tighter in terms of how many starts they get.
Yeah, well, so Wool's their number one. I think he'll win the net. The question is is he going to be capable? Are we going to see Joseph Woll, what barring injury or not, are we going to see him for 50, 52 games, or are we going to see him for 44, 45, 46?
Right.
I think that's a big question for the Maple Leafs. They would much rather that answer be 52 than
Yes.
Does Austin break 70?
No.
No, and as I said, I think part of that is I think there needs to be a little bit more emphasis, and this isn't against
And Austin
Austin.
can do that. Like
He's one of the
He
best
could.
forwards in the National Hockey League. He has never had an issue. It's never been like an issue where he doesn't play defense,
right.
Offense, but his line mates are going to have to make that adjustment as well, and because of that, there may not be as many goal scoring chances. Now he can create for himself. Do I think he can reach 60 plus this year? Definitely.
Yeah.
70 is a lot.
That seems a bit more reasonable. I personally think he's going to have somewhere in the mid 50s, like 53, 54 goals this year.
And also, he's got to stay healthy for
Yes, that is also a big factor.
It's not like he's a super injury prone guy, but I mean, if he misses 5, 6, 7 games,
yeah,
it's getting to 70 so difficult.
I would put my floor with that at like 53, and then I would put my ceiling with that 62.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that sound fair?
I think it's
that's fair.
And then
but because of the fact that I solely don't trust Toronto at all, I think he's going to get at least 53, 55.
And then the other obvious elephant in the room before we piece out of here, of these guys, I know I'm not worried about Willie too much because Willie's going to do William Nylander things, right? Yeah. It's JT.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
I think he'll sign an extension and it'll be a cheap deal. But the question is at what point? Like what is he at this point? I still think he's a center for the Maple Leafs, but I think in the time being between now and next October, they have to find a new 2C and they need to put JT on the wing.
Yes. Because like right now you've got Austin, JT, Pontus, and Kampf.
Yes.
I'm
not even trying to take a shot at them right now and make fun of them for sakes. Legitimately, a guy they could use right now is Nazem Kadri.
Yes.
Like, sort of.
Yes.
Yeah.
100% with you, Jay.
Like that is precisely the kind of guy that they could use.
Because they're also missing Yarncroke, and he could play anywhere.
Yeah.
So to start the year, they don't have Calle Yarncroke.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really Swiss Army knife type player that, as much as I love Bobby McMahon, he's kind of not what Calle is.
No, he's kind of almost the antithesis of him, isn't he?
So, because what I would think that your top 6 is going to be like Nyes with Austin and Mitch, and then whether that's Bobby or Max, I don't think it really matters who's going to skate with JT and Willie. Because you could slot Bobby in there, you could slot Max in there, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you want to do Max at center and put JT on the wing already, that's something that Craig could try.
Yeah, especially how Max Domi gets along with Craig Berube. I don't think it's necessarily going to go poorly, but I do think there will be times that those two clash.
I mean, there's the whole thing with Ty. There's the whole thing with his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Domi's a good player, but that's a guy who has not played a lot of defense in his career, and Craig Berube is going to get on him about that because that's going to be something that they need out of him.
Yeah. So maybe put Bobby there to put more of a defensive emphasis on that wing because Bobby already does that.
I mean, I'm the opinion with a team like Toronto, when you have this much talent in terms of offensive firepower, you're probably better served to spread the wealth. So I don't think there's any with having a guy like Max Domi on your third line. I don't think you necessarily have to have him playing with John Tavares and William Nylander. Those two are productive enough players as is. They can produce, whether it be with Nyes, whether it be with McMahon, or if you wanted to put Pontus Holmberg for whatever reason on the wing. Like there's a lot of options that they have. So I would opt for spreading it around.
Yeah.
Again, I still think that there's going to be a 5 and a 3 in the East. I think the 5 is going to come from the Metro.
It's an interesting race as always. I like maybe it's just because we're on the East Coast, but every year I find the East to just be so much more interesting than the West.
Well, but it's like,
I agree.
Well, because
that might just be biased because we live here, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion almost every single year.
When we look at the past couple of years in the standings, the Pacific really drags the West down because look at what happened in California over the last few years.
I think I think you're 100% right about that.
Because all three of those Cali teams, like the Ducks and the Sharks, fell off a cliff, and then the Kings are just kind of there.
But I would also argue in the same sense that the Atlantic has done that to the East in terms of like, oh, every year, who's going to make it to the playoffs out of the Atlantic? And it's like,
it's the same thing again.
Boston again, it's Florida again, it's Tampa again. And then you're just looking at Detroit, Ottawa, Montreal, and Buffalo for the last 3-4 years, and you're just like, can someone do fucking something here?
Right.
But then you got the Metro, and every year it's just chaos.
Yeah, and I think that's what we love about it.
It is.
Absolutely.
It absolutely is.
My biggest thing for the two teams that we cheer for, Rangers got to follow it up.
100%.
They have to follow it up. And they have to make a run.
Yes.
At minimum, it's conference final.
Yes.
That would be nice, but I mean, I personally think it's at least make the Stanley Cup final. At least make it. Mm-hmm. Winning it, I would love nothing more. First time since 94, 30 years too long, going on 31 if they don't this year. Given the fact that Sam Rosen, the voice of the Rangers, is retiring at this season's end,
that is a big
nice. It'd be nice to see them win one more for him, but we'll see. My expectations are high, but I'm also being very cautious because I know how this team is when it comes to 5-on-5 and also on the power play, which has been anemic, especially these last playoffs.
I would agree, though, like in terms of realistic expectations, yes, we should expect the Rangers to be a team that should probably compete to get to the Eastern Conference Final. But looking at it more from a perspective of where the Rangers are at as a franchise, Stanley Cup Final almost feels like it has to happen.
100%, yes.
Not getting any younger. You have the Igor contract situation going up. His pay will go up. So there's going to be less room, as we mentioned.
And it could be the last crack with the core of Kreider, Zibby, and Panarin as well. You never know.
Yeah,
you never know because a guy like
those guys are going to be free agents soon.
Chris Drury's a very bold guy. So,
yes.
like as you said, would it be the most surprising thing in the world if they don't get it done this year and he decided to shake things up?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That would very much fall in line with who the GM.
Which not to shameless plug us and you, but we just did our big 150 with Mearsy. We are very much looking forward to if you're able to get Sam, since that's a big dream of yours.
A guy can only dream.
Dude, I know you're working on it.
I wish.
I know you're working on it.
I am, but I don't know.
Jay, what did Steve say? It's easier than you think.
True. We'll see.
And then obviously here in Columbus, I'm high on him. I'm high on him this year because we went through another one. It's happened with Matisse, and now we lose Johnny. And I'm not going to say, that I would be disappointed if they finish last again. Just go out there and win for Johnny.
Yeah.
And be better.
The two things that I wanted to bring up was One thing that I did do through our good friends at DraftKings, I did put a $13 bet on the Blue Jackets to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yo, Jay, let me just say this. If somehow, some way Columbus just makes the playoffs, that's enough to be a successful season.
Yes.
Given all the turmoil they've been through the past God knows how many years, if they just make the playoffs, that's a success in and of itself.
To me,
Especially for Johnny this year. Oh boy, can you imagine? Can you imagine how Columbus is going to feel if they make the playoffs for him?
so where I'm coming from in terms of expectations for this season is I'm actually going in with really no expectations. And I don't mean that in I expect this season to be terrible, this team stinks kind of way. I mean it
It's a wait and see.
Yes.
I'm putting the blinders up. I'm not paying attention to we finished in this position. This is how I feel. What I'm going to do is, after witnessing these last 2 seasons and whatever the hell that was, can I just enjoy watching Blue Jackets hockey? Can I tune into games and say, this is fun?
Yep.
That is all I
Right.
can. If I can walk away from the season, no matter how many points we finish up with, no matter how many wins we end up with, and just say, man, I liked watching them. This was a fun watch. This was worth my time. That, to me, will be a successful season. That's all I'm asking.
Boys, we got 82 games to go.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Good
Jimmy,
luck.
before you go, as you know, we love doing this with everybody. And you love doing this with me. You love doing this with everybody you have. Where are you? Where can we find you?
Yeah, so
Mr. From the Blue Seats, as you rep.
Yes. Very limited shirts. I sent these out to a few friends of mine and also to fellow supporters of the podcast from THPN as well. Hopefully I can make these public soon, maybe if I get enough support. But anyway,
I'll get
From
one.
the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast you can find on YouTube, Apple, Google, well, actually it's YouTube Music now, Spotify, and all other audio platforms. We're on Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94. No Facebook because I don't bother with Facebook anymore, but that's beside the point. So just Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94, and you can screw TikTok. I don't care about that. We're not involved in that either. But that's where you can find us. And if I could, Jake, for a split second, my side project, which you've been on
Of
before,
course.
The Bottom Line, my YouTube channel. You can go subscribe to that as well. Search for The Bottom Line Jimmy on YouTube. That's how you can find me. But as far as this show, again, YouTube, Apple, YouTube Music, I should say, Spotify, all of the audio platforms. From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast, and at BlueSeats94 on Twitter and Instagram.
This took a long time, Jimmy.
Yes, it did.
But we were so happy to finally do this, bro.
Yes, this was wonderful.
No, listen, boys, this was such a blast. I really can't thank you enough for having me on, and I'll have to have both of you on my show this time around next time. But this was so much fun. I can't thank you guys enough. Hockey's back, baby. We're
You're
back.
a treasure, buddy. And you know what? We got watch-alongs coming, everybody.
Yes, we do. Yeah, at the time of this recording, which is October 8th, I'll be streaming opening night for the Rangers against the Penguins on October 9th.
I signed up for October
stay
10th,
tuned.
Columbus,
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yes.
So you got your boys. Jay, if you want to join me for that. Not to put you on the spot. Sure.
Yeah, I'll just have to see if I'm available. That's
Okay, you just let me know.
That's his subtle way of saying no. I'm just kidding. I'm just
What's
kidding.
on my schedule.
Totally fair, buddy. I'll put it out on the Slack channel or whatever if I need some help. But yeah, we got watch parties. We got DraftKings. We got Game Time.
Yes. New official sponsor of THPN, Game Time. Use code THPN for $20 off.
We're doing this, boys. 24-25 is here.
Let's go, baby.
We'll see y'all.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Oh, follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Garinger, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.